In this video, we're going to focus on the right side of the BMC: value proposition, segments, customer relationship, distribution channels. Everything we're going to talk about from now on is based on a questioning principle. It's about asking yourself as many questions as possible to frame things, to reduce risks, to be discerning in order to attack the market with precision. Like the archer facing a target, we must take stock of different elements. This is the principle of iteration. For each question, the elements of answers give stickers, first on an uncertain knowledge base. This base will be reinforced by confrontation with early adopters and experts. Gradually, we will arrive at an accurate knowledge of the elements indicated on the sticker, and therefore, whether or not to keep them in the BMC. The core of our thinking is the value proposition. Without a value proposition, there are no customers, no revenues, and without potential revenues, there is no investment possible to develop things. It is therefore necessary to build our value proposition and our target in parallel. The logic of the right-hand side is centered on customer segments. It is the understanding of these segments that will allow us to sharpen the value proposition. The questions around customer segments are quite simple. For whom are we creating value? Who are the most important customers? What are the segments we should attack in priority? Yet the answers are not so easy. From a blurred vision, we will have to move to a precise vision. These answers will have to define segments with precise needs, behaviors, and characteristics. They require to be factual about the level of knowledge about the elements, and to be proactive to increase this knowledge so that the blurred areas disappear gradually. To provide useful and constructive answers, we will have to get to know the decision-making circuits of each segment and its components. We will then discover the sponsor, who has an interest in moving the project forward, the facilitator, who is able to help the project, the payer, who writes the check, the user, who will really use our value proposition, and the brake, who has an interest in slowing down the project. These actors should no longer hold any secrets for you in terms of expectations, needs, sufferings. It will be necessary to go to the contact and not to remain in an idealized world. To define the actions necessary to the reduction of the zones of fuzziness to thus reduce the spaces of uncertainty and risk. To implement these actions and to make evolve the stickers, their weight, and their color. With the increase in knowledge of customer segments, we will also be able to refine the elements that make up the value proposition, which can sometimes be sketchy at the start. Once again, the questions to ask are simple. What added values do we bring to the customer? What needs do we meet? What problems are we helping to solve? Our value proposition is at the crossroads of market standards, to differentiate ourselves from them. Customer needs, so that they differentiate us, and what we can bring. This intersection corresponds to what is strategically important for the project. It is symbolized by a star. This is the space where our value proposition should be located. In fact, this value proposition identifies what will eliminate customers' pain from their problems, and what will create gains based on their motivation. Even if it seems fuzzy to you, which is normal at the start of the project, a value proposition always has two drivers. One technical, the other behavioral. The technical driver is related to technology, service, industrial aspects, quality, performance, etc., such as, for example, novelty, new technology, invention, product, service. Design, product aesthetics. The improvement of the environment. Other components of the technical engine are presented in additional resources. The behavioral driver is more related to financial, business, strategic, personal motivations such as the reduction of risks for the client, reaching a new market, saving time. Other components of the behavioral engine are presented in additional resources. In fact, from these elements, we will be able to associate our different profiles of the decision circuit, sponsor, payer, brake, with the elements of the value proposition on a logic of adequacy. By digging into the elements that make up our value proposition, and the expectations, needs, and sufferings of the different actors, we will arrive at something precise that will be our offer. From this offer, we will be able to identify the revenue streams. Thus, in our work with the Strategics platform, we can ensure that all the roles indicated in the decision circuit for a customer segment must be able to benefit from one or more of the elements of the defined value proposition. If not, we will have to remove them from our thinking or rework the elements. Our product and service offer are only the materialization of the value proposition. Now that the value proposition customer segment match is solid, we can work on the two intermediate boxes, customer relations on the one hand, and distribution channels on the other. Here we use the same logic as before, with basic questions that require the most precise, right answers possible as we work through the iterations and the hypotheses. For the distribution channels, we will have to ask ourselves the following questions. How do your customers prefer to buy and be reached? Which ones are the most accessible, efficient and profitable? How do we integrate them with customer habits? We will then be able to define how the company communicates and connects with its customers. To do this, we will once again work on the link between the elements of the value proposition and the specificities of our customer segments. Over time, we will consolidate the construction of the BMC by changing the color of the sticker notes and their weight according to the links. For customer relationships, we will have to ask ourselves, what type of relationship do each of your customers want to have with your company? What is the cost of this relationship? How do these relationships relate to the other blocks in the model? We will then be able to define the types of relationship to establish with our customers. To do this, we will once again work on the link between the elements of the value proposition and the specificities of our customer segments, and, over time, we will consolidate the construction of the BMC, taking care to maintain a real coherence between the various elements. Don't forget to use the links, dashboard, and action plan tools to help you manage this process. Over time, we will have for our right side accurate and verified elements that are consistent, reinforcing each other to have an accurate target and a right shooting posture. It is now time to have the material to propel towards the target. It is about building the left part. Be careful, here we have a sequenced presentation, but it is more than likely that we are working on the subjects simultaneously.